Hello, fourth grade families, and welcome to your fourth grade school year. I'll be your teacher this year. My name is Kristen Love, and this is my third year at FMCS, but my 9th year teaching in a formal classroom. I came to Florida a couple of years ago, about 5 years ago, from the great state of Colorado. And so as you can tell by walking into our classroom, the mountains influence most things that I do. They've always signified to me the glory and the majesty and the might and the power of God. And so I strive to bring that into our classroom every single day. This year will be exciting and challenging all at the same time. Fourth grade is a year of blossoming independence, where students learn to take control of their own learning. One of my mottos in my classroom is that the students should be the ones doing the work of learning. So I like to teach via mini lesson, which means the time I spend in front of the classroom talking is shorter, and your students get to do the work themselves to apply what they've learned at their seats. You'll see lots of different things coming home and lots of different types of assignments. But my goal for this video is to show you that a little bit later. Some housekeeping things that you'll need to know is that this year, though we aren't starting the year with specific COVID precautions, please know that I have your students' safety at the top of my priority list. We will still be diligent about cleaning and hand washing and coughing into our shirts and all of the things, because we want our students to remain healthy in all ways. We will also be focusing on building a classroom community for the first several weeks of school. So please make sure that your student is on time, as every morning we start with morning meeting. This is a specific time where we get to come together as a class, do fun team building activities, learn about each other, learn to be active listeners, and also work on some of our speaking skills as we share with our friends each and every day. Please know that this year I am excited to teach all of your students, and my personal theme for this year comes from Lamentations chapter 3. In a book that is completely full of lamenting of how difficult circumstances are and how difficult the world is, there are 3 little verses tucked right in the middle of chapter 3, verses 21 through 24. And in there, in specific translations, part of this verse 21 starts with, "And I dare to hope." And honestly, that's my theme for this year. Even though our world is experiencing great times of trial and struggle, we dare to hope. We dare to think differently. We dare to love when others are judging. We dare to have fun when others are stuck in sorrow. We dare to learn about Jesus in a school setting. And that's why I'm so thankful that you have joined the FMCS family this year as well. If you have any questions or concerns over anything I go through in this video, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Seesaw is one of the easiest ways to contact me, and I'll explain exactly how you can do that later in the video. Communication is always one of my main priorities with you as a parent. You'll want to download these 2 apps on your personal device. This first one is the Fort Myers Christian School app and will allow you to do several things each and every day. Homework is posted by Sunday night, so you can go on here and see your students' homework for the entire week. You can also check their grades in every single class that they might be in at any given time. The other app you'll want to download is Seesaw Family. Seesaw Family allows you to see what your students are working on, but also down in the bottom right, in the inbox, send me a message. Every morning when your students come into our classroom, this screen will greet them. This screen helps them to build that habit of attention and responsibility. You'll notice there's a to-do first section, which reminds them of everything they have to do before they even get started. Then the morning work at desk section will tell them what to do once they're seated. On the far right, they'll always see a list of any items that need to be turned in, whether homework or permission slips. They'll gather those items at their desk and then take them out to the hallway to our turn-in cart. In this cart, they'll see listed anything that needs to be turned in. If not turned in the morning, it may be subject to a late fee. This really helps our students to control and build that habit of responsibility. This year, in terms of homework, we're going to be trying something a little bit different to help our students stay organized. Each week, you will receive, or your student will receive, in their folder, a little bookmark that will look something like this. It will have the unit and the week that we're working on right now, all of their spelling words, vocabulary words they can be practicing, the IXL skills that we're working on in class, and then down here, some weekly center activities. This will vary from student to student, and I'll most likely be handwriting these in with your student as we go through the week. Your students in 4th grade should have the opportunity to get 98% of their homework done in class if they use their time wisely. I truly believe that I would rather have them do extra work when they're here and they can be supported by myself and their classmates and all of the tools and resources we have here. And then when they go home, they have the chance to just take a break and relax and have fun and play and be kids. That said, on the occasion, you will see homework that needs to be completed at home, either because your student didn't use their time wisely or because it is an activity that we are trying to use to reinforce what was done in the classroom. If anything is needed to be done at home, you'll clearly see that stated in the homework section on the FACTS app, so just keep your eye on that. I know that many of you who've been around FMCS for a while are already familiar with the How I Act behavior system, but for those who are not, let me do a quick introduction to it. Basically, we understand that kids are going to be kids. They're going to make mistakes all throughout the day, and the Bible says we are to have grace for those mistakes because He loves us enough to have forgiven them all. However, we also understand that being in a classroom is a place where you learn the habits of attention and self-control and self-discipline. And so we also understand that in order to keep us accountable for changing our behaviors to be exactly who God created us to be and to be our very best, we need some accountability with our family when we make that mistake. So if your student makes a mistake in the classroom, which they all will at some point in time, we have a very simple system that helps us to communicate these to you and keep the kids accountable. You can find all of the details of this in your parent-student handbook. But to give you a quick example, if one of our students is talking after being asked not to, I may ask them to come over to our How I Act board and put we call it a tally in their pocket. So they'll take a T tally, T stands for talking, and they'll put it in whatever pocket happens to be theirs. Then that night you will find a behavior notice in their take-home folder. It'll explain to you what happened, if there were any additional consequences, etc. And we just ask that you initial and sign off and send it right back to us. One tally is really just a, whoops, I lost my mind and forgot something. One tally is that reminder that, oh, I need to check my habits and check my heart and make sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Once we get to more than one tally, 2 and 3, which does not happen often, but when it does, there are additional consequences. And again, you'll find all of those laid out in our behavior section of our parent-student handbook. But always feel free to ask me any questions, and I'll be as forthcoming and work through all of these things with you as much as I possibly can. Anytime I need to connect with you about behavior, you'll see it recorded on this behavior log. It'll come home every single day where we can write notes back and forth. We also ask that it be signed or initialed on the front each day.